And we got the great Jeff Kerr. Last week, we had no Jeff Kerr. Jeff Kerr, Birds 365 was not the same last week without you, my friend. Let's go to our main man, Jeff Kerr, joining us right now from CBS Sports. He joins us on the show. You can follow him at Jeff Kerr CBS and read all his work at cbssports.com. Jeff, welcome back to the show, my man. How you doing on this Monday morning?
Week 2 of a 2-week vacation, Zander. Can't beat it.
But he's still taking time out to visit with us. So many thanks, Shep. And happy embargo day. You figured it out.
That's because he saw the freaking list and said Jalen Hurts at number 9. I got to get on Birds 365.
Well, I think that came out this morning. So I don't know. Did it?
Yeah, it is happy embargo day, John McMullen. I just happened to
embargo day.
Yeah, I turned on and I'm like, great article by this guy. What great exclusive stuff. I'm like, yeah, okay. Sure.
Jeff, what'd you take away from some of the embargoed stuff you read this morning, or any intel you have yourself you want to share?
Can I be honest? I didn't read it. I just happened to go through the
Well,
timeline.
you should read mine. It's semi.
No, I'm gonna read yours at some point, John.
It's semi exclusive.
Yeah.
It's about 14, 15.
There's about 4 guys I'm gonna read, and they're 4 guys I probably talked to the most on the Eagles beat. You and Ed are 2 of them. You can guess the other 2, John.
I can, and they're also very good as well. There's a lot of good people, but you're going to see a bunch of Nick Sirianni stuff this morning, so be prepared.
Yeah, and you're going to see a lot of people aggregating Nick Sirianni stuff this morning.
I don't know if I quite understand, like the purpose of embargoing this. And all due respect to everybody that put out, John. Obviously, I've read your article; it was good, but it doesn't seem like anything like groundbreaking. You know, like what's the point? Nick said that it's bullshit that people criticize Jalen Hurts. That doesn't feel like it needs to be embargoed for me. What am I missing?
You're not missing anything. It doesn't need to be embargoed. It's just something that's done as a way to generate sort of stuff as training camp approaches, because we don't have access.
Yeah,
we don't have access.
Yeah, training camp's next week. This is a good time to do it. The Phillies are on. You can focus on the Eagles for a couple days if you choose to do that.
Little PR campaign, yeah. Phillies are off All-Star break right now, right? Till Friday, Jeff?
Yeah, they're off till Friday. I can go on and on about the All-Star game. I did it on podcast last night, but this is Birds 365. So if we want to complain about an All-Star game, we'll complain about the program.
We'll do that. We'll do that another show, Jeff.
But yeah.
By the way, I could spend two plus hours complaining about every All-Star game.
Oh, I could too. I think you and I have done that before.
Yeah,
they are pretty brutal.
I figured it out. I used to love them. I figured it out, Chip. I used to love all the All-Star games when I was a kid. And I'm like, boy, I'm a curmudgeon, which most people would say I am. But I'm like, why do I hate All-Star? Because I legitimately hate them. And it clicked one day. I was like, it's for kids. That's what it's for.
Yeah.
It's for kids. And I don't know if kids watch baseball anymore, but back when they did, it was really exciting. I loved baseball when I was young, and it was really exciting. And I just grew up and I was like, this is a waste of time. Why are they doing this?
I was asked to predict who's going to win the home run derby tonight. And you know what I said? Who's in it?
Yeah,
I have no idea who's in it.
Yeah, I
will say I've been liking the MLB this year a lot more than I have in recent years. Now that's just because I've watched it a lot more, but I think that I don't know. I feel an upswing coming for the MLB.
I believe it's been trending upward. I know people don't like the new rules and they don't like the pitch clock and they don't like the ghost runner. Fine.
I hate the ghost runner.
The ghost runner's brutal.
It is brutal. I understand why they do it though. With the way these offenses are, they might not get a hit for 19 innings at this rate.
Yeah, teach people to hit the right way. But
that's the problem. They don't hit the right way.
Yeah. Go tell the Phillies pitching coach or the hitting coach that. I mean,
it's not. I mean, it's that's where the nerds have ruined the game because numbers are everything, and they figured out. Well, you're more likely to hit a 3-run home run, so swing for the fences than play station-to-station baseball. So the days of, hey, somebody got on, maybe he'll steal second, bunt him to third, and you have a sacrifice fly. Like that to me is awesome. You know, baseball execution.
Same here. Well, it's like the Phillies, right? They can't get a runner in from third with 1 out.
Yeah.
Sack fly,
because they don't play small ball at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have a guy that analytics people will tell you that's an average player in Bryce's stot when he really isn't. He's a 230 hitter with no power. That's
Yeah,
embarrassing.
well, let me just stop us right here, all right? Because I don't want to get into the All-Star break. I don't want to go on Philly.
Let Jeff and
We'll
I
pick
go.
up baseball post All-Star
Yeah.
break.
Hey,
when
can we
things
talk
are
about how Jalen Hurts was ranked 9th?
Yeah.
Come on. I would
Yeah.
not want any of those execs on my team.
Thank you, Jeff. I'm like, hey, just because it says execs doesn't mean they're always right. All right.
No. Well, and I want to emphasize it's executives, coaches, and scouts. But I do think, and I said this, Zander, before you came on, I do think there's jealousy amongst executives specifically, especially when you win the Super Bowl. There's some of that. Then there's some amongst coaching. Very little with scouts, though. And those are the guys I try to lean on the most when it comes to personnel. Look, I've been telling people on the show, people in the league don't consider him a top 5 quarterback. Now, I believe he should be behind Jared Goff? No. Everybody else? I put him ahead of Matthew Stafford, but I get why they don't.
John, do you believe it's one of my theories? I call it the Tom Brady syndrome. These people just can't admit that a guy that wasn't a first round pick is actually good.
I think there's some of that for sure.
No, I think nobody had a problem admitting Tom was good at some point. Maybe that's a little bit.
But it took a long time for them to admit that.
Yeah,
right. And I wonder if Jalen will reach that point, eventually, where the winning and the accolades overcome the desire to see talented quarterback play, and however they quantify that.
Yeah, I like who of that other than Stafford, who's descending, but is great. You could still argue him, but certainly not what he was at his height. And Goff, like you got a problem with the other 6?
Herbert, I got a problem with Herbert.
I see Herbert.
I think Herbert's a lot of bark and not a lot of bite.
So you're telling me you have a big problem with Justin Herbert being listed
over Jalen Hurts? Yes, I do.
In the NFL.
Yeah, I have a problem with him over Jalen.
I can't get on board with that.
I think Justin Herbert's really good. But I think if you're looking at the totality of it, again, we got to do playoff success here. I mean, there's 2 playoff games now. It's really hasn't been the regular season. Justin Herbert.
He's been
well. Again, it's funny because Nick had defended Jalen during the embargo session that you're seeing, and I wrote about it, about some of the similar thought processes. But I think if you read Jeremy's piece, like he explained, the thought process behind where Jalen is, and it's something I've explained. It shouldn't be new to people for a long time. And basically I'm trying to pull it up as we're speaking. So, some people think, one guy had him top 5, it's one of the game's most accurate passers, ranking first in completion percentage over expected. He throws a beautiful deep ball, which I didn't understand. Everybody remembers our back and forth, me and Jalen, when I was
I remember that.
He throws a great deep ball, and he's like, they say I can't. I literally, what are you talking about? Everybody loves your deep ball, and that was amplified here, because people recognize how good his deep ball is. But here it is, and this is it, and this is all it is. When he was asked to be a high volume thrower in 2023, struggled to take care of the football. Now he cut that number dramatically, but he had 361 throws. So until he proves to be a high volume thrower at an effective rate, he's always going to be outside of the group that people want him to be in. And I think it's ironic because if he does be a high volume thrower, that means Nick mentioned his selfishness. That means you become selflessness. That means you become selfish, and you probably win less and the goalposts get moved, and because you win less, you're knocked down.
Perfect example. Ask the Cincinnati Bengals what happens when you have a high volume quarterback.
Well, exactly. And they have the best high volume quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, he's a stud, and you can't deny that. But a lot of people, I think it's what gets a lot of people upset. Yes, I think we all know Joe Burrow is a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts, but you're disrespecting Jalen Hurts because Joe Burrow throws for X amount of yards and X amount of touchdowns. That's all well and good. What's been the Bengals' record with him doing this?
Oh, forget Joe Burrow for a second. I'm fine with Joe Burrow at the top of the board.
Well, yeah, we are, but
Justin
I'm saying,
Herbert. By the way, the other one, Jaden Daniels. I mean, 1 year. I know the kid's got talent. I'm not saying he's not a great quarterback. 1 year, and scouts got him 5 in the NFL.
You know what bothers me with Jaden Daniels?
People love him.
I thought he had a fine NFC Championship game. Don't get me wrong, but people are acting like he did this otherworldly, godly game, and I'm like, dude, he was okay. Like,
the only thing I remember from him in that game, Jeff, was him dancing in the end zone down 3 touchdowns. I thought that was the goofiest thing I'd ever seen in my life.
That's a bad look. That's a bad look.
By the way, John and I were done our story at that point.
Yeah. Well, I said but I'd look at it a little bit differently. I said going into that game, Washington doesn't belong in this game.
And they don't. And you know what? I'm going to say it right now. I do not think the Commanders are going to be as good as everybody thinks they are.
I don't think they are either.
Yeah, I've been saying that all summer.
But the point is they overachieved. I think it's ironic because Nick Sirianni and what he said, he was asked about the thought process that some have, but I don't know that a lot of people have. And certainly I think it's more fan-based than people in the industry that think Jalen was along for the ride, basically, with the NFL's best team. And Nick said, I think that's bullshit. But baked into the league, and he went on to talk about, baked into his explanation is also why people think Joe Burrow and some of the names that haven't won, and Justin Herbert, why they think they're that good. So you have to look at it both ways if you're being honest. So again, Nick said many, many times, you name me a team that wins and wins consistently that doesn't have good players around. You name me, and I'll speak on my end, you name me as a coach that doesn't have good players around him that wins. And he said the same thing about quarterbacks. So, it's not an even playing field. It's not a vacuum. You don't say Jalen Hurts is better than Joe Burrow. You can, and many people do, because he won a Super Bowl. He's got the best team in the NFL last year. Consider this. The Eagles lost Milton Williams, Josh Sweat, Darius Slay, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Mekhi Becton. Some people, I would say most people, still think they have the best roster in football.
A lot of people are thinking that. They're still really good.
But that's fine. Why is that a knock on Hurts, though? Because
it's
all the
not
other
a knock. What I'm saying is it's dumb.
No, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm saying, though, I think, and John, I'm not saying you. I'm saying I think there is a percentage of people that use that against the quarterback. Oh, you have a great team, so what you did isn't that impressive.
But this is what bothers me.
You just talked about it, though. Joe Burrow doesn't win because he doesn't have a good team. Josh Allen doesn't win because he doesn't have a great team. Every other quarterback doesn't win without a great team. Jalen wins with a great team, and it's like, oh, the quarterback didn't do that much.
But it works, I don't get that. But it works both ways. You guys are very intelligent football people, and you say, it shouldn't be a mark against Jalen Hurts. I agree with you 100%. Then why is it a mark to say Joe Burrow doesn't win? If Joe Burrow had the Eagles team and didn't win, then it's a mark against them.
I agree, but I try not to use that against those guys. But I agree with you. There is a line of thinking where it does have to go both ways.
I think what bothers me is now, and again, Eagles fans get way too caught up in this shit. Dak Prescott would have 55 touchdowns in this system. Okay.
Well, that's bullshit.
And I said, okay, fine. Keep in mind, you root for the team that your quarterback during your dynasty was the ultimate game manager that rose in the playoffs and is a Hall of Famer in Troy Aikman. The Eagles might have that in Jalen Hurts, and I don't think that certain fan bases can accept that. But Eagles fans get way too caught up in it.
I also mentioned this, Jeff, and I want to run it by you. I mentioned this to Zander. a second part of this, certainly with executives, is most teams do not want to play the way the Eagles play.
No, not at all.
So it's baked in that they want a higher volume thrower.
The Eagles went against the grain last year and won a Super Bowl, and
Yes.
that pisses people off.
Well,
I mean, last year we talked about it. They only had, what was the game? They only had 67 net passing yards. I'm like, did they win?
Well, yeah.
Well,
But
John, to your point about that, do you think that's more about, obviously, when you have a quarterback that is elite from the pocket, it gives you your biggest improvement in your margin of odds or your margin for error, in pursuing victory. I understand that. But is it also just a lot harder to build like the Eagles did? And that's why most don't want to do it.
Yes. It is a
you gotta have a great GM.
process.
You gotta have the right quarterback. You gotta have no egos. You gotta have all, you know what I mean? That's a tough thing to get in a professional.
It is a multi-year process, and they don't want to do it.
I mean, teams are too afraid to trade first round picks for AJ Brown. They want an AJ Brown, but they don't want to give up what it takes to get an AJ Brown. And then they don't want to sign an AJ Brown. I mean, look at the Bengals right now. Bengals have a loaded top end of their roster, right? They paid Jamar Chase, they paid T. Higgins, they paid Joe Burrow. They're having problems paying Trey Hendrickson. They had to let Jesse Bates go. They had to let X player go. And I've been on Bengals radio stations before. They've agreed with me, like, you can't keep everybody. And you know what they fire back? Well, the Eagles find a way to do it.
And they don't, they made some very difficult decisions this offseason, but they certainly, the Bengals are an outlier because the Bengals are just
broke.
the cheapest
in NFL terms.
They are cheap, yeah.
And it's a shame that Joe Burrow's stuck in that, but he is. So, I mean, whatever, he might end up being Dan Marino. People still recognize Dan Marino as a great quarterback. And, he got to one Super Bowl and didn't win it. Maybe that happens to Joe Burrow because he's just in a bad organization. That's part of it. Life's not fair. Jalen's in a good organization. I don't hold that against him, but I do think when I'm trying to evaluate the quarterback position, and that's why I say quarterback evaluation is broken. You do have to factor in everybody's not playing with the same group,
right?
And the ultimate team game, as Nick Sirianni calls it. So when he says, and basically and he said it, forget about the embargo. He said that part of it multiple times. One of the reasons I love football so much is that it takes everybody to accomplish your goals. You name great quarterbacks. You can go ahead and start naming great quarterbacks. I'll tell you, they're great receivers and they're great defenses, whether it's Tom Brady with Gronk or his defenses early on, Mahomes with Kelsey, Steve Young with Jerry Rice. The list goes on and on and on.
Well, Joe Montana with Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice, Dwight Clark, Roger Craig.
Nobody wins a Super Bowl with bad teams. Nobody. Quarterback.
I'm trying to think of bad teams that won the Super Bowl, and I can't think of one.
Because they don't exist. There have been bad quarterbacks or mediocre quarterbacks to win Super Bowls. But bad teams don't win Super Bowls.
I try to tell people this story. Everybody goes, well, Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. I'm like, yes, he did. You know why? Because he didn't turn the football over. Tony Banks turned the football over. That's why they went to Trent Dilfer.
Yep. And they had great defense.
All-time defense.
Yeah. So
I mean, people are having a hard time, and it's funny because I'm trying to put this in words, but, Saquon's comments that last year's Eagles were a top 5 team. I have some numbers that can back that up. Just what they did historically in the postseason, stuff we talk about with historic teams, and people just don't want to buy it. But
yeah, well, and Saquon's a student of the game. John talks about that all the time. He's a guy that really knows the history of the game.
Well, I kind of split it up. I don't think it's even fair to compare like the Eagles with the Pittsburgh Steelers of the 70s.
Yeah, I agree on that. Yeah,
back then, before free agency, there was no free agency. You got a core together, and they were there for a decade. And you see all those Hall of Famers. Now, the athletes are better today, but the Pittsburgh Steelers of the 70s,
they were dominant.
To me, that's the best team of all time, but I look at it from the free agency era on, and they're one of the best teams in their era. No doubt about it.
That's what we had one of our historians at CBS, Brian DeArter. You guys have had him on here before.
Yeah, yep.
And Brian ranked the Eagles, last year's Eagles, #1 since 2000. And he got a lot of heat for it, and he presented a really good argument of why that is. He said, look at what they did in the NFC Championship game. Look at what they did in the Super Bowl. This is the highest level of football. He said they had #1 defense. You know, this is the first team that had the rushing champion, #1 defense win a Super Bowl since 92 cap. He just listed stuff on, and he said, there aren't too many teams I could say that. And he said, I put the 2007 Patriots at #1, but they didn't win.
Yeah. Well, again, I bring up those names. Well, the Patriots to me are the best team I've ever seen. Undefeated, and they didn't win.
It's crazy. They didn't win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you look at those names I mentioned, Milton Williams, Josh Sweat, Darius Slay, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Mekhi Becton. So if you lose Joe Green, L.C. Greenwood, Mel Blount, Donnie Shell, no, that's what's so, I look at Nick Sirianni's winning percentage, which is, I believe, is the third best of the Super Bowl era. But you have to go back
all time. You got to go back to Guy Chamberlain.
Yeah, you have to go back to John and the Super Bowl era. You have to go back to Madden, and I think George Allen is the other one.
George Allen's up there. Yeah.
And again, both of them are before free agency. So in the free agency era, no one has won at a higher rate than Nick Sirianni. No one.
And you know what, John? It bothers me with Nick Sirianni. I think he's disrespecting coach rankings.
Same thing. Same thing as Jalen.
Yeah. Oh, his team's loaded. Well, okay. I've coached. Look, I haven't coached professional sports. I've coached loaded teams that didn't win shit.
Right. Jeff, do this for me because we're talking about this list. Jalen came in at #9. You had Jaden Daniels #5, Matt Stafford 6, Herbert 7, Goff 8. Hurts 9. I think that's just way too low.
Let's see how Goff does without Ben Johnson this year.
We'll say that's going to be interesting. Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, Justin Herbert. Give me your 1, 2, 3.
Well, Jalen, look, Jalen Hurts got the championship. I'm sorry. So that jumps him. He performs in the playoffs. He manages the game. He doesn't turn the football over. He's got a good yards per attempt. Look, I think James Taylor's going to be a top 3 quarterback. Let's not crown him yet.
Let's Dennis Green him. I love the kid, so I'm going to crown him. But
by the way, that's the best post-game speech ever, and I knew exactly what he meant. No one did. I did.
Oh, I knew. I know Denny. Well, I knew Denny. Denny's great.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know him way better than I do.
Yeah. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. But again, and that's an example. You think about Denny Green's, and now I'm going to go on a tangent. You think about Denny Green's impact on the game as, one of the first African-American coaches. And, if that 98 team wins, he's
a Hall of Fame.
They basically let him in.
Randall Cunningham's in the Hall of Fame if that team wins.
But he spawned Tony Dungy. He spawned Bill, why can't I think of his name? Not Bill Bellick, Brian Billick.
Yeah, Brian Billick.
Boy, I'm getting more and more senior moments. But Brian Billick.
It's in your head, John. You're good.
Yeah. Well, because I know Brian very well. That's just insane. So to create those two guys, and by the way, Tony Dungy, who's in the Hall of Fame, will tell you Denny Green deserves to be in the Hall of Fame before he did. But if you don't win, nobody recognizes it.
I remember this when they were talking about when Lovie Smith and Tony Dungy met in the Super Bowl. They were the first 2 African-American head coaches to go to the Super Bowl. And I'm like, it's a shame. We should have had one in the 90s with Denny Green, and we never got him.
Yeah. But yeah.
History is written by the victors.
That's true.
Yeah, it is.
And there's a lot of misreporting in history because it is written by
those who win. Yep.
Yeah. It's funny. We don't talk about who lost wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we talking
It's a
about the
perfect example.
repercussions of who lost wars?
I mean,
I
you
always
could go
thought-
into a way bigger topic than football on that comment.
Yeah.
On
Yeah,
history
exactly.
being written by winners.
I always talk about the Buffalo Bills who went to 4 straight Super Bowls being more impressive than a one and done Super Bowl
It's
team.
true though.
Nobody agrees with me, but that takes consistency and perseverance, everything. That is
I got
so
roasted.
impressive.
I got roasted when the Chiefs were down 40-6. I said, look, I know this is really bad for the Chiefs right now, but the run that they have been on, the fact that they even competed for a third straight Super Bowl championship is impressive.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
They were never good. Give me a
It's
break.
unbelievable.
They weren't even the best team in their
Look,
conference this year.
And what I say about the Bills, and I said, now we're up to 59. There are 59 Super Bowl champions. There's only one team that ever went to 4 consecutive Super Bowls.
Buffalo Bills. Not even the Steelers did it.
Nope.
They went to
One
4.
team.
Listen, it is impressive, but how many of the players on those Bills teams would have given up a couple of those appearances? To
Oh,
get
all
one
of them.
win?
All
All
of
of
them. They've
All of
admitted that in the documentary.
Yeah, we had
all
Jim
of them.
Kelly
To
on
me,
the show on
to
the National
me-
Football Show many times. He said the same thing.
To me, it's not the same argument. I mean, because again, it's the accomplishment. It's what Big talked about. It's what AJ talked about. Everybody wants the accomplishment, but if Scott Norwood makes a damn field goal, we're not having this conversation. They might lose 3, but they have
also
1.
It's also goofy stuff like Thurman Thomas not knowing where his helmet is. Like it's weird stuff, and they've all said this. Like it probably just wasn't meant to be.
Well, think about the Giants and Eli Manning. Think about Eli Manning. To me, I say it all the time. He's not a Hall of Fame quarterback. Ultimately, I think he will be because of his surname, and he won 2 Super Bowls
and other reasons.
Well, John, don't you think the Hall of Fame should be a little bit bigger than just like how good you were on the football field? Like Eli Manning,
because I think it's best football players.
Yeah, but it's the story of football. Eli Manning dethroned twice who is basically undisputably the greatest quarterback to ever live. Doesn't that deserve a spot?
He didn't dethrone Tom Brady.
Yeah, the defensive line. I know what you're saying.
He was a part of a group that.
I mean, what bothers me is like there's a 9-7 football team that had negative point differential that won a Super Bowl. But
that's the thing, and you have the helmet catch. What if David Tyree doesn't have
crazy catch?
A freaking helmet.
What if Asante Samuel picks up the pass?
What if Asante Samuel makes a play he always makes? One of the great ball skill corners of his era. Easy interception.
What if who was it that missed Eli on the sack for the helmet catch? I always forget who was it. Seymour?
Yeah, that wasn't great, but
by the way, he's a Hall of Famer too.
That was a great play by Eli Manning before to get loose for the helmet catch, but still, and it works both ways. Remember Edelman's catch? That thing went the Patriots' way. There are little things in all these football games. Not the Eagles win over Kansas City. They freaking destroyed them.
Well, that's usually what happens. Usually the dominant teams don't allow this stuff to happen.
Yeah. But as far as all the close Super Bowls and the helmet catch and Asante Samuel and Eli getting loose and all that kind of stuff, those little razor thin margins tend to define the legacy of average or above average players.
It's a great comment, John. I agree.
By the way, John Zander, my favorite story from that 2007 Patriots season. I've talked to Spagnuolo about that Giants team multiple times at multiple Super Bowls, and he remembered me last year because we had this conversation. I said, Spags, one of my favorite memories from your Super Bowl championship team is when you basically used Jim Johnson's defense because the Eagles used it in Week 16 to be a Cowboys team that seemed otherworldly at the time. It seemed like it was going to be a Dallas Patriots Super Bowl when we were going to go ballistic. And you beat them, you hold them to 6 points. And he goes, same blueprint. He said, Jim Johnson just basically gave me the book and said, here you go. And they used that to beat the Cowboys in the divisional round. That was the best Cowboys team since the Super Bowl, and they couldn't win a playoff game.
Hey, Bill Belichick used big scheme to beat the Sean McVay Rams.
Yeah. Well, listen, I got to be consistent on Eli because I give Jalen Hurts a lot of credit for the success that we've had in Philadelphia since he arrived. So If I'm doing it for Jalen, I got to do it for Eli. 2 Super Bowl wins over Brady. It's good enough for the Hall in my
He didn't
book.
turn the football over in those Super Bowls, did he?
Well,
No,
he could have. He could have.
Yeah.
Based on his
Yeah,
career
to
numbers,
me,
it's surprising
to
he
me,
didn't.
well, that Jim Plunkett's got to be in before Eli. So
Well,
get Jim Plunkett
that's
in there.
that's my argument. Like we don't give Jim Plunkett this love, but
Well, his
Plunkett
name's
is
not Manning.
Yeah, he's not
And
Jim Manning.
But he didn't dethrone Brady.
Well, John was Jim Plunkett was a selected pick before Archie, right?
Yeah, but that's the stuff that bothers me. No offense, Andrew. Did Eli
No,
Manning?
I get where you're going to go.
Was Eli Manning even on the field when Tom Brady was on the field? They're not.
No.
They don't even play each other yet.
But it's a quarterback duel,
Tom
John.
Brady.
It's a quarterback duel.
It's the nature of the sport, though, John. There's so much.
Well, I know,
so
but
much,
just because it's people do that doesn't mean you should play into their the lowest.
I get what you're saying. I get
They're
what
not
you're
even
going
on the
with it,
field against each other.
It is funny how things work. Like, look, I work for one of the broadcast partners. We literally flexed an Eagles game out so we could show Caleb Williams versus Jaden Daniels in the 4:00 spot, and it paid off really well because it was a Hail Mary at the end of the game that converted. But that was a high-rated game before that play. You're right. They're never on the same field all the time, but that's how we hype it up.
Yeah, not me. I'm not taking that heat.
And that's fine. I appreciate your consistency.
Not Nick Sirianni, who says it. Ultimate team game. Everybody's got to contribute. Everybody's got to be on the page. But too many people do it. Way too many people do it. It's ironic that, I think that, again, to me, the 2 greatest quarterbacks that I've ever seen. I'm not going to go back to Otto Graham, although some people joke I've seen.
Were you alive when Otto Graham was playing?
Yeah, exactly. So, or even Bradshaw and those guys. But to me, and it's about week to week. The 2 most consistent quarterbacks from week to week I've ever seen, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. And Peyton, to be honest, is better.
Peyton Manning is better than Tom Brady.
Week to week, there has never been a better quarterback than Peyton Manning.
You think Jalen's improved in that regard?
Yeah, but I mean, he's not at that level. But yeah,
no, I'm not saying he's at that level. I'm just talking about from where he was to where he is, because I thought he took a big step forward, even just interseason last year, from week 1 to the Super Bowl, where I thought he had better control at the line of scrimmage. And again, I don't know exactly what's happening up there
from the bye week to the Super Bowl, if you want to be fair.
Right, there you go. From the bye week to the Super Bowl, I thought he improved a lot in the role that he took on post Jason Kelce.
I've said it pretty consistently. I don't think he had his best season last year. He got better. He was playing his best football late when you need to play your best football. So that's a positive. And I think he Sugar Ray Leonard it. I say it all the time. Sugar Ray, for boxing fans, would, throw the flurry in the last 30 seconds and steal rounds. I think Jalen Hurts stole a round at the end of last season. And people forget the lack of consistency during the season, where he had some of his worst passing games. Now, part of that, I thought, was just the unfair nature of the Eagles scaling back the offense. But it's hard to go to Nick Sirianni and say, hey, you shouldn't have done that, because they won. But I mean, they're now, as a stat guy, and you're the stat guy, Jeff. I'm not the stat guy, but we're talking about a potential top 5 quarterback. Now, take Jalen Hurts. If you could take his name off, and you can't, and take the Philadelphia Eagles off, which you can't, because we're the show. Obviously, that's what this show is about. But if this was a different quarterback with the Ravens, Ray Lewis defense, or the Tampa Bay defense, or some of these great hell, you could argue the Eagles last year. But again, I'm trying to take it off the Eagles. And, you had games of passing yardage, 183, 158, 114, 179, 118, 108, 131, 128. you would not be freaking happy.
How much of that was circumstance, though?
Yeah, well, that's why I hate
number one defense in football, number one running game in football.
I hate the passing yard stat. It's like, okay, give me yards per attempt, give me grading, give me efficiency. Now,
he was the 23rd graded passer by PFF, which is bottom 10, which is bottom 10 in the league, just by film grades. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how people could argue and say that he was better in 2024, 25 when he won the Super Bowl than 2022 when he was runner-up to MVP. In fact, I've often said, to me, that's a slam dunk. His best season was 2022.
Well, oh yeah, not even close.
Well, that I agree with. Yeah, I mean, he was.
But I would argue 2023. Now he's asked to do much more again with a shitty defense. And this is where I'm defending him. So I hope people open their ears, because the defense between the difference between 2023 and 2024 was the freaking defense.
Yep. And you could say to Jalen, hey, we're going to dumb this down a little bit here. Protect you from yourself so you're not turning the ball over a million times a game, because I called him it turnover machine. There was
he had 7 turnovers in the first 4 games.
That's exactly. That's that was carrying over from last year. I'm like, look, this is who he is. And
I think they panicked coming off the year prior. I thought they panicked too soon, but again, it's hard to make that argument because it was so successful.
I think they evaluate that first quarter of the season, like you said, John. And yeah, was it a panic move? Yeah, but sometimes panic moves work.
Yeah, well, it did. There's no question it did.
And you know what? It's funny. Just talking to professional athletes in baseball and football, they only seem to care about one thing. What was the result?
Well, and that's the ultimate end game, but that's the team end game, which he's a big part of. And I don't want to dispute that. But I don't think he played poorly in 2023. I think he was asked to do more.
Yep.
I think he made some mistakes because he was asked to do more. And I think if he's asked to do more this year, he'll make more mistakes.
What's crazy about
I think he's right, though. I think he's right in his approach that the team game is a lot more important than the individual. The individual stuff is for us and all the other talk shows in the world to talk about.
I agree with that.
I mean, he keeps putting the main thing is the main thing. Win. I think everything else will ultimately organize itself.
You know, Jalen Hurts definitely has the Michael Jordan approach to sports. Did I win? I want to be labeled one thing, a winner. I mean, look.
Look. The approach is 100% right. But I mean, that's where you're talking about work ethic and unbelievable top of the heap level athletic ability and skills and traits. Michael Jordan's rarefied air. Michael Jordan is, normally we see it in Philadelphia right now with Joel Embiid, who is one of the most gifted centers, 7 foot, 280-pound people that ever lived, but he doesn't have the other stuff. When you have top 5 skill set plus top 5 work ethic, and then with Jordan it's probably number 1, then you have historic.
John, by the way,
Jordan's
John, you're gonna appreciate this. Do you know on like NBA pages this is why I can't stand Nikola Jokic, because of his fans. And I love Nikola Jokic. Do you know his fans are saying he's a better basketball player than Michael Jordan ever was?
Well, yeah, well, that's stupid. But
I said this is a pointless conversation. Let's start with the positions, and then we'll go from there.
I mean, he's a phenomenal player. But again, you're talking about one of the few guys on the handful.
My favorite is Michael Jordan wouldn't excel in today's game. Magic Johnson would. I'm like, yeah, they would have, because they would have improved.
Don't get me started on the time machine argument.
Yeah.
Look, I acknowledge that the athletes today are better than they ever were. So I don't judge athletes from the 70s with athletes from 2025, because I always joke they had to sell insurance in the offseason.
Yeah,
They
right.
couldn't
A lot of
spend $1
different
million
variables.
on their
OJ
body.
Simpson was jumping over Hertz cars.
Yeah. They couldn't sell it. They couldn't spend $1 million on their body and hire chefs and there's tremendous advantages, but that's why I call it the time machine argument. So what you have to do, if you want to make that argument, Wilt Chamberlain's the best to me because Wilt's one of the best who ever played. Yes. Would Wilt hold up? Would Wilt of 1967 hold up today? No. Take Joker or anybody or Embiid and put them back in 1967 and see if they match up with Wilt Chamberlain in those deficiencies. If you have the genetics to dominate in your era, you're great. Period. End of sentence. You should be judged against players in your era.
I like that, John.
Yeah, not all the time.
Yeah. Because it's not fair. And again, the made-up time machine has got to work both ways at least. If you gotta move Wilt or anybody else forward, you gotta move you gotta move them back.
I always try to remember this when I'm arguing with people over Michael Jordan or whoever. For some of these people, they have never seen Michael Jordan play dribble a basketball ever. That's like when I was growing up in the 90s. Wilt Chamberlain. I never saw Wilt Chamberlain dribble a basketball. My memory of Wilt Chamberlain, sadly, is him passing away. It's a shame.
My memory is the picture that floats around of him holding up the 100.
Which, by the way, do you know people think that's fake?
Yeah, people think that's the movie.
I know people that remember that.
Don't think the 100-point game ever happened.
Yeah, it did. Like, my dad's alive. He'll tell you it happened.
Well, I'm not here to debate that. I don't know. I'm out of my purview on that, but I do think it's an interesting conversation. Jeff, are you an MJ's the GOAT guy or are you a LeBron's the GOAT guy?
MJ's the GOAT.
I think Johnny Mac, you're a LeBron, aren't you?
I say it this way. It's very similar to Aaron Rodgers. I think no one has ever played the position at a higher level than Aaron Rodgers, but I don't say he's the greatest all time. I say LeBron James is the most well-rounded basketball player that ever existed.
And he's still rocking it at 40, by the way.
Yeah.
He's still really good.
Like if he's in the conversation, Michael's in the conversations, Wilt is in the very few people. If you're in the conversation, I say it all the time, that's good enough. Then you can say what's your favorite.
Definitely earned it. The fact that LeBron went to his main consecutive NBA finals as he did is
what did he go to 10 or something at that time?
Yeah, I don't care if look, I don't use the finals record against him. It's funny to use it against him because he's a whiner about it, but I hold
it a little against him more than I would hold 4 losses against Jim Kelly.
My issue with LeBron
basketball's a superstar game, though, man. I mean, you want to win, you need your superstars to win.
My issue with LeBron James stems with this: when he fails, he has to make a big production about it. And
that's to me. People get upset about the personality, and I got to know
the ego and some of those things. I get that.
I got to know LeBron a little bit. I say it all the time. I'm actually amazed at how grounded he is. Now it's been many years. But I mean, to me, the guy's 40 years old and he's still better than 95% of the players in the league.
He's a top 10 player in the game at 40.
I think the off the field stuff, John, that you just talked, or the off the court, I guess I should say, is really impressive. I mean, he's been a literal headline guy since he was 16 years old. And he's got no off the field issues. He's got a great family. He's got great children who are all together. Like, I think that's pretty cool. I think that part of it.
I mean, honestly, LeBron's biggest flaw to me, he thinks he's smarter than he actually is. But everybody thinks that. So I'll let that slide.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
We all think we're smarter than we are. He does. He's just more vocal about it.
It's pretty freaking impressive.
It is.
40 years old, 24 points a game, 7.8 rebounds, 8.2 assists. Now, again, people say, well, Tom played till he was 44. Well, The game changed. And that's another thing. If you're in the 70s, you couldn't play to 44.
LeBron, to me, is wasting his years in Boston.
It is definitely a different NBA, though, John. Don't you agree with? I'm not saying the longevity.
Well, yeah, it is,
not great, but it is a different NBA.
It's still an athleticism-based sport.
Yes, I agree.
And
he still has it clearly.
Yeah. And you're running circles around most 22-year-olds. That's freaking impressive. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, look, the guy's good. Let's call a spade. The guy's good.
Yeah,
if you want to call him the GOAT, I'm not going to argue it.
Yeah.
He's not. I always say he's not my GOAT. That's just my.
Speaking of GOAT talk, you guys see Jalen rolling around with Michael Jordan? I saw some sort of post on my social feed. I wasn't on social much this weekend, but I did see Jalen on somewhere with Michael Jordan.
Jalen idolizes MJ, man.
He's in his company a lot.
I wish Jalen would open up a little more because he's got a lot of Michael Jordan-esque stuff in his life. He's got a Michael Jordan quote. He's got a little Michael Jordan. I want to talk to him about I'm a Michael Jordan stan.
I don't think he'll ever open up in his playing days.
No.
Maybe in the future.
I got DVDs of Michael Jordan's best games. I got all that stuff. I wasn't even a Bulls fan. I just appreciated Michael Jordan.
Yeah, who doesn't?
I literally went. I never got to see Michael Jordan play until I was like 8 years old. And of course, the one game I get to see him play, AI might have had his most famous move against him. And
I think you can make an argument Michael Jordan's the most influential athlete to ever live.
For a sport, absolutely.
I think even bigger than that.
Well, there's like Muhammad Ali, people.
Yeah, but I'm talking Michael Jordan's reach goes even way far beyond.
You can ask
the shoes, the brand, I mean, guys, Jordans came out 30 years ago. Jordan 1s, the first Jordan ever, is still one of the most popular sneakers. Now, I know that doesn't matter for some people, but I'm just talking about impact as an athlete.
Look how popular the Last Dance was. Look how popular the Last Dance was.
Yeah.
Like, people still talk about the 90s
I still wear
Bulls.
Jordans. I still buy Jordans. I mean, that's crazy.
I wear Jordans.
I don't know if people will be buying LeBron.
I mean, but who deserves more credit for that, Nike or Jordan?
No, I think Jordan.
Nike took the gamble on him.
I mean, the marketing,
gamble, but I don't think Nike is Nike today.
I mean, look, he's one of the most. I'm saying there's others, and I would argue Muhammad Ali. I mean, just as an impact on, because again, I think people today don't realize how big boxing was back in its heyday.
Muhammad Ali was box office. Joe Frazier was box office. You guys ever watch the PBS documentary on Muhammad Ali?
I never have.
I've seen a bunch of them. I don't know.
PBS got one, and it's kind of like Last Dance ish. It's phenomenal. They go into chapter 1's like his early life, him as Cassius Clay. Chapter 2 is the conversion to Islam and him getting kicked out and coming back.
Right. He did have a big
Frazier. Yeah.
Ali had a lot big impact.
At his height, he was the most recognizable person in the world. And Jordan was in that conversation.
John, I'll use your comment on this. They're in the conversation. If they're in the conversation, it's good enough.
I always said this when you guys remember. Well, Xander, you're probably too young. John, do you remember when ESPN did the 50 greatest athletes of the 20th century?
Yeah.
And like
I was a little surprised Michael was number one.
I was too. Because
I was expecting it to be Ali, to be honest.
I thought it was going to be Ali, and I thought Babe was probably going to be ahead of Jordan, and Jordan was one. And I'm like, I remember how controversial that was.
Yeah. I was surprised at the time. Now it doesn't seem surprising.
Was Jim Brown the one that was snubbed?
I don't remember. Snubbed, and he certainly had to be on. Because
I think it was Jordan. It was Jordan 1, Elite 2. I believe it was Roof 3 and Gretzky 4. And then I think Brown might have been 5.
Yeah, I mean Babe Ruth. Certainly, it depends. It's like on a worldwide perspective. Like I say it all the time as a pro wrestling guy. Like on a worldwide perspective, like I don't think people realize like how well known the top wrestlers are because it's a worldwide thing. Like John Cena is much more well known than worldwide than Jalen Hurts or Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. Is in the United. I don't think people understand.
John Cena was in.
I do.
movie, by the way.
Yeah. So, not it depends on what you're grading it on. But yeah, certainly Jordan.
Well, John, to your point on
transcended.
that, I think people that don't watch WWE, and I kind of fall in that category. I'm not a consistent watcher or anything. I don't think they realize how big it is. Like, I don't
Oh,
think
it's
people that
huge.
aren't in it. It's the biggest sports YouTube channel on the planet. It's got
Yeah.
more views than every other sports league combined. Think
Yeah.
about it. That's how big their
Yo,
reach
yo,
is.
yo, how big WWE? I mean, just look at social media last night. I see John tweeting. I see everybody tweet. People I didn't even know that watch WWE were tweeting about WWE Evolution last night.
What happened last night? I didn't see it.
Well, yeah, it was a phenomenal show. You should watch it.
I'm telling you, yeah.
I'll
Well,
go
well,
wrestling
it
nut
was-
on you guys.
It was an all-woman show, so I think it was less popular.
No, well, that might
whatever.
explain half the male viewership.
Yeah, but yeah, it depends because a lot of people just watch it to want to see the ladies, but the ladies destroyed the men over the weekend because they had a bunch of cards.
I think WWE puts on a very entertaining product. It's something that you can watch, you can enjoy. If you take it for what it is, it's fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Rhea Ripley, Io Sky. That's my recommendation. Go out of your way. If you like pro wrestling, go out of your way to watch that match.
John, did you watch Goldberg on Saturday night?
Well, yeah, I did.
Wait, what happened with that? We had Goldberg on the channel.
He had his last match. He lost.
Did he get crushed?
No, he showed up. He's 58 years old. I think he did a good job for the fact that he's
probably more entertaining than watching Mike Tyson fight. Which Paul brother was it? Was it Logan or Jake? I don't even remember anymore.
Well, it's Jake Paul's show. I don't know who was fighting, but I saw Jake Paul was doing a show on Netflix. There were two big fights on Netflix. One was the women's boxing match, and then the other one was the Jake Paul show, I think.
Yeah, it was Jake Paul. By the way, talk about people. I have no idea what the Paul brothers did to get to where they are. I really don't.
I have no idea, but Logan is a hell of an athlete.
Logan, yeah.
Oh yeah, Actually, Logan's a freak.
It's one thing to build and what he did, and then kind of go into it because of the fame that you have. It's another thing to go to the top rope and do these you know what I mean? These crazy athletic moves and flips and all sorts of stuff. It is pretty impressive.
I have neighbors. They're both 8 and 6. That they're in love with Logan Paul. They just love watching what Logan Paul does.
Well, there's so many of these YouTube creators, and Xander's probably more in tune with that have these huge followings. I don't know any of them or who they are.
They got a big impact on society nowadays.
There's people in journalism. I'm like, how the hell do you have 2 million followers? I always try to figure it out.
Then there's people that bought their followers and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm not talking about.
I didn't even know this stuff existed.
Real influence. Yeah, I mean, there's what's that one guy's name? There's these two new streamers. They're these young dudes. I mean, they're hanging out. They're in rooms with some of the biggest names in the world. I mean, what's that guy's name? Speed.
That I know because he's been on WWE.
That's why I mean, even Johnny Mac.
But I have no idea. But I have no idea what he does or who he is or what. Other than he's very popular. Other than I mean,
there's a kid I used to.
I got nothing against him.
Playing high school sports, he was a football player. He grew a big TikTok and Instagram follow. You know why? Because he does the shimmy. It's weird.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I mean, good for him. He's making money.
So many people get their, when we're on YouTube, and we're, I think, a success on our level, but so many people are on YouTube, and so many people sort of digest things in these little clips versus sitting down to watch a TV program.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
And we talk about occasionally how streaming has beaten broadcasting cable for the first time combined a couple weeks ago, according to Nielsen. And nobody has a bigger slice of the pie when it comes to people digesting content than YouTube, which is crazy. Crazy.
When I run on the treadmill, I'm watching all Eagles games on YouTube. It's YouTube. I can't watch them on cable.
I tell you
Not
guys all
all.
the time, I'm not a TV show guy. I'm not a movie guy. I'm a YouTube. I love YouTube. I YouTube my hobbies. That's what I do when I'm
But
not working.
but
Look at my hobbies.
Xander and John, speaking of you guys with Birds 365, like Oscar Budahin and I are still shocked at the success of our podcast right now, which has only been a year in. And Oscar was telling me last night, he goes, we had like 3,500 people watching at the end of the show. I said, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
The
that's
end of
really
the
good.
show. Like, we can't explain it. I guess people do like honest information sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's space for it all. Good stuff, guys. Good conversation on all sorts of different things. Jeff, we love getting you on because we always go and we go all over the map.
Pretty soon we'll be talking football all the time.
Yeah.
Well, we talked a lot of football today when it came to Jalen Hurts and the quarterbacks, but I would circle back to Nick Sirianni. You mentioned you think he's still a little bit I don't know, slighted in
I
the
think slight is a good
perspective,
word.
Why do you think that is? What do you
I
think?
think in the head coach rankings, I guess PFF did the head coach rankings. Like Nick was like 10. I mean, you're talking about disrespected.
Yeah, I think that's egregious. I think that's egregious.
I don't want to rip him too much, but
I mean, people want to tell me Jim Harbaugh's
try to
coach
look
than
it
Nick
up.
Sirianni, and I say not a better NFL coach. Nick's
Well, what
I
does
like
Nick
Jim.
have to do?
I'd like
Nick
Jim
have to do?
Harbaugh as a coach. I do. So I'm looking at. I'm pulling it up. So it goes Andy Reid 1, Sean Payton 2. Oh boy, he's overrated. Sean
And I
McVay
like Sean.
3. I think he's overrated. John Harbaugh's 4. Mike Tomlin's 5. Jim Harbaugh's 6. Still going. Kyle Shanahan's 7, who I love, but as a play caller and schemer.
What's funny is Nick Sirianni beats all these guys.
And Nick Sirianni's 8. Yeah, Nick Sirianni's owned Sean McVay specifically. So he's 8. He wasn't 10. He was 8. Dan Campbell was 9. Kevin Stefanski is 10. Yeah. Nick gets even more disrespected than Jalen from that perspective.
I think he's even harder to gauge. I mean, I don't know. What's the only metric you can really use to quantify like a coach's success? Is it wins and losses? I know it's not all on them or whatever you think. I don't know what you think about that, you guys, but isn't that kind of the only thing you can look at? I mean, if you're looking at a statistical approach to a coach's success, isn't wins and losses all you have? I mean, a quarterback, you have passing stats and this and that and all these different other things.
You have offensive stats, defensive stats. You look at it from more of a team perspective.
Well, what does Nick have to do then? I mean, if he hasn't earned,
I have to do anything to get people who don't understand to understand. He's got work to do. But why would he want to do that? He's more focused on trying to get the Eagles back.
Yeah, and I think he's right about that. I think
Nick
the
Sirianni
organization damaged his perception a little bit, to be honest.
Well, it's the same thing. It's like anybody would win with the Eagles roster.
Yeah, but I think some of the things that happened with him too also damaged what he looks like to the outside.
Well, the personality, the jealousy. Yeah,
to me, personality, yes, but anything the organization did, I mean, with the way they kind of,
they
for
gave
lack of a better word,
players.
Well, they castrated him for people that aren't in the know. That's how they see it. Oh, they took away the offense. They took away everything. What does Nick do? That's what people say. What does
John
Nick
Harbaugh?
do?
What's John Harbaugh
the football team? What do you mean? What does he do?
Yeah. What's John Harbaugh do? He don't run. He's not a.
No.
He's always done what he's done.
I do think some of that though weighs on his perception.
Well, yeah, but I think a lot of it is like Nick Sirianni like nobody took away Nick Sirianni's play calling ability. He decided to step back. That was his own decision because he wasn't happy with the way he was managing the game early in his rookie season.
He admitted that to us in the embargo session last year.
As far as Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio, first of all, because there was a Diana Rossini report. I remember on the first day of training camp last year, I asked Howie because there was a Diana Rossini report that Howie hired the coordinators. Like the perception is that Howie hires the coordinators. He doesn't.
No, Nick hired.
I don't know how many times I could explain that. Nick doesn't even report to Howie Roseman. He reports.
I do think people think there's like a short list, like, hey, well, you can pick, but it has to be one of these guys or something. Like, I don't know. I feel like people don't look
part
at
of it is
true freedom. Part of it is to say, I like this guy. This is who I want to hire, and then he can do it.
Part of Howie's job is to gather candidates. So I think that's the disconnect. Like Nick's busy with shit, other shit, football shit.
Yeah, right.
Howie's also been around longer. So Howie has more of a network of people, which is what he explained.
And how he's allowed to control that stuff. I mean, look at the guys represent. But by the way, that seems to be the only thing the Eagles get credit for. Howie Roseman is the #1 GM in football.
Well, I'm one of the people that likes the collaborative approach. Like I don't look at Nick and say, "Oh, he doesn't manage every part of the personnel and this and that makes him bad." I think it's good. Why would you not? If you have resources around you, if you have people around you that have been successful in their area of expertise, why would you not call them? Why would you not collaborate with them?
The best owners, the best CEOs, the best coaches have the foundation around them. It's always been like that.
Well, isn't it also such a different NFL? Like we talked about this a little before, Jeff. I'm not sure if it was with you or if not, but the NFL is so different. Like in the 90s, yeah, Jim Johnson was the coach, the GM, the play call. Like he did everything. You know,
Andy Reid was that here, and it hurt him as a coach here.
$10 billion organizations now, man. They got full setups, full teams, full managers, full scouts, full everything. You don't need the coach to do everything.
Zander, I laughed when Andy got fired in Philly and when I heard he was just going to be the head coach in Kansas City, I'm like, oh, this guy's going to win 70% of his games. He was already a damn good coach, and he was trying to do the both role. Oh, by the way, the guy's won 70% of his games since he's been to Kansas City. It's insane.
Yeah.
But you know, Andy Reid only wins because he has Mahomes.
What do you guys think Nick's biggest deficiency is? Sirianni.
I think that he is a little bit too emotional in games.
Too many highs and lows. You'd like to see him be more steady.
Yeah. I think he's a little bit too emotional.
I
don't think he should be yelling at fans, telling him to run the football.
I think Nick Sirianni's biggest strength is his biggest weakness. He cares too much what other people think. Like, for me, this is how if someone yelled at me to run the ball down, whatever, in the second half, I would turn around and literally laugh at him. Because I'm like, you guys are idiots who have no idea what you're talking about. Nick Sirianni should take that approach more.
I would ignore them.
Well, that's a way of ignoring
that.
Is there what?
Is there a positive? Is there a look at that while it has its downsides?
Well, no, that's his biggest strength because that's what motivates.
Right, that creates who he is. It creates
it's all
you know, the connection with the players, the fan base. I don't know. I think some of it is not all
bad. There are people you were talking about. You know, hiring people. We were just talking about Howie when I asked him last year on the opening day of training camp, and he explained, look. And he used Quignon as an example. I just looked it up. So he was saying, you know, we go through our process in the personnel, first round pick. I feel like myself, our scouts, we had great information on Quignon Mitchell. Obviously went to Toledo, Nick's college roommate. Jason Castle is the head coach at Toledo. Hey, I got this information on Q. You have this collaborative approach. It made me feel much better about the selection that we already felt good about. So then he went on to the coaches and he said, it's the same process.
Yep.
Nick will come in and say, these are the guys I'm thinking about. Do you have any relationship? Do you know these guys? Obviously, I've been in the league a long time and had prior relationships with both of those guys, Kellen Moore, Vic Fangio was talking about. It makes him feel better at the decision he's making. You know, I got him on the record to explain it. People still didn't believe it. They want to believe what they want to believe. In the case of Nick Sirianni, you saw it with Kellen Moore, or especially early in the season, not so much late. When things were going well, it was Kellen. When things were going poorly, Nick took over. People are going to believe what they want to believe. So my best advice to Nick Sirianni would be to say, ignore it. Now, that's easier said than done, but you're never going to change their minds. You know, even if you get people on the record.
Right.
Oh, well, Diana said, well, I don't give a shit. You heard Howie.
Yeah.
You know, they're it. Now, could he be lying? I guess. Why would he be lying? First of all, everybody was on board with Big Buck and Fangio. Kellen Moore? Howie made Nick Sirianni hire Kellen Moore?
It's a good hire.
In hindsight, it worked. So, yeah.
Worked out. I don't know why people are so obsessed with,
who hires who. I don't care.
Ultimately, Jeffrey Lurie's the one who's got to sign off on it. So if you want to use somebody, use Jeffrey.
Yeah, and I think we have the best owner in football, and it's not close.
But Nick reports directly to Jeffrey Lurie. He does not report to Howie Roseman. And I think a lot of people still today do not believe that.
Well, because I think part of that is because of the setup. I mean, Howie's been here for how many coaches? 3, 4?
Well, there's now if you to me that's a different question. Like, who's on firmer ground? Howie Roseman.
Yeah.
Well, I think that can create a
perception for those not in the know that, Howie and the owner work in tandem and the coach is a revolving door and it's whoever they choose at any given moment.
Well, it's whoever Jeffrey chooses. I would agree with that part of it. Because I go back, and again, people can believe and trust who they want to believe. Howie recommended the Eagles, Jeffrey Lurie, hire Josh McDaniels in 2021. And Jeffrey said,
no.
I don't, they both, I was told they both said we can get along. That was a big issue with Jeffrey Lurie. And they promised that it wouldn't be a problem. And ultimately, Jeffrey said, no matter what they say now, at some point in the future, they're not going to get along. And he said, let's keep interviewing people. And they kept interviewing people, and he got to Nick, and he was wowed, and he hired Nick Sirianni.
What my reasoning would have been to not hire Josh McDaniels, because Josh McDaniels sucks as a head coach. I mean, that would have been my reason. I'm like, I don't care if he gets along with everybody.
I'm with you, Jeff.
Hey, if you go back to 2016 with Doug, they wanted Adam Gase #1. That was their top choice. And Ben McAdoo, the famous story, he was on his way to accept the job.
Yeah.
And the Giants convinced him to turn around on the Jersey Turnpike, Molly Pitcher service area. I make that up. I don't know what.
It might have been the Molly Pitcher service area for all we know.
I don't know which service area, but he turned around. Yeah.
I'm telling you, sometimes it's the guy you don't hire. The Eagles want to hire Jim
Sometimes
Haslett.
It's better to be lucky than good. You could have had Adam Gase and Josh McDaniels.
And Ben McAdoo. And trust me, people would not be gloating over this franchise like they do now if that was the case.
Yeah. Look at Dirty Air here, one of our great members here. Member for 10 months. Dirty Air, thank you, brother. He says, Nick, like Jalen, perfectly fits this team and city. Their goals, focus, and passion embody our fan base and are the exact approach needed to win games and rally a team. What do you guys think of that?
I don't have any issues with that.
Giving the fan base a lot of credit. I don't know. The fan base gets pretty upset at them when
I'm more upset at Phillies fans right now than I am Eagles fans, because a lot of Eagles fans are taking their Eagles approach to the Phillies these days. So.
Are the Phillies are in first place?
The Phillies are in first place. Everybody thinks they suck. So, whatever.
Yeah, it is what it is.
No one knows the intricate. I can never say the word. The intricacies of baseball.
Look, a lot of people wanted Nick fired after the 2023 season. A lot of people wanted Nick fired
after the Browns game.
I didn't want him fired. I thought it would have been the wrong move. Too quick.
The only issue I have with that Browns game is not Nick going after the fan. Him bringing his kids as the podium is like a shield for them.
That was.
Come on.
You got You almost have to tip the cap, though. It's like, all right. It sucks.
Look, I'm going to defend Nick Sirianni. People are going to say him. Look, and I love Mike Sealski. Good friend. Great dude. He does it all the time. He wasn't bringing him up there as a shield, and actually he got in trouble with his wife, and he's not doing it anymore because there was stuff written about him that she wasn't happy about,
which I understand.
But he created that too.
No, I agree. He shouldn't have brought. By the way, I agree with that. He should never bring them up there.
No.
So number one, that's where I start. They should never be up there. But in that particular instance, he had done it. That's like the 4th or 5th time he had done it. he wasn't using them as a shield.
It was just
Yeah.
a bad moment.
I mean,
You gotta look at the
for a
optics.
moment though, I could see why Mike would say that.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not blaming Mike. I'm just saying I don't think that was what he was doing. And he answered the questions anyway. He got the questions. It's not going to stop Mike asked the question. It's not going to stop it from happening. And if Mike didn't do it, somebody else would have asked it. So yeah, I don't think that's why he did it. I agree he shouldn't do it, but I'm just saying I don't think he was bringing up his kids to use as a shield.
Yeah, I don't either. All right, good conversation on Nick Sirianni. Jeff, we appreciate you being here today, brother. As always, you give us tons of time, and you're in vacation mode, man. You got your feet kicked up, so enjoy the rest.
What better vacation than talking to us? You got a big lunch today,
everything.
By the way.
I do got big. John, why aren't you going to the big lunch?
You got what?
Heaven forbid you have to cross the bridge.
Is the big lunch something that can be disclosed on the air?
Well, I guess so. He's going to lunch.
You want to talk about the big lunch? Everybody but John is meeting up for lunch today.
Look,
what do you mean everybody? Who's everybody?
It's easier for me to get to freaking West Virginia than where you guys are going. So
who is it? Like the beat reporters are all getting together?
Yeah, well, most of us.
Couple of them.
Yeah, Ed Kratz, Martin Frank, Andrew DeCecco, and myself, and John McMullen was invited, but heaven forbid he has to go to the Wicked Witch of the East territory.
If you guys want to come to South Jersey where everything is, Nick lives here, AJ lives here. We can go over there. You know, if you want to come to South Jersey with the special people.
Where the heck you guys traveling? Asia? I mean, holy crap, John!
Yeah.
It sounds like you're gonna have to travel across the world to meet these guys.
Well, I'm exaggerating.
Hey, Jersey, the only state I have to pay to leave.
I'm exaggerating, but it's easier.
State.
If I have to go on the Schuylkill, that's like 4 hours of my freaking day.
He's not wrong about that because I gotta go on the Schuylkill.
John said, "Love all you guys. Cross it off the list. I'll see you."
The funny thing is, John would probably have to go 2 hours out of his way in the other direction just to even get to college. To avoid the Schuylkill.
Jeff, you know where I'm going this weekend?
Where's that?
Dover, Delaware.
Oh, are you going? All right.
Yes, I'm going to Dover Motor Speedway this weekend. Our guys in the chat. We got one of our viewers here, Jeff, that works with NASCAR, and he got me garage and pit passes
for
the weekend at the NASCAR. So I'll be down there.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I'm super excited.
Have you ever been to a NASCAR race?
No, never been.
Oh my God, you're gonna love it.
I know. I'm like, literally, and I'm like, I love cars, Jeff. It's like one of the things I really like when I'm not working. So I'm ecstatic to say.
I used to have I call him a relative. He's not a relative, but he's more of a close family friend. But he used to work for Penske, and I used to get all that. Oh my God, was it so much fun? The only thing I couldn't do was because Miller was Rusty Wallace's sponsor, I wasn't allowed to be in certain areas till way under 21. I'm like, I don't drink anyway. It's funny. They said like beer influences you. I'm not really much of a drinker. I grew up with Miller Lite all over the place. You've seen the back of this. Like, I hate the beer. It stinks. But I like the color of the car and I like the driver. I can separate.
Jeff, sometimes you are so unintentionally hilarious. I love it.
Yeah. It does. I'm not gonna lie.
You're killing our sponsor. No, I'm joking.
That's
trust
funny.
me. I don't think Miller's ever gonna sponsor me for anything.
Yeah.
No, that's all right. I'm not a beer drinker either. John, I know you enjoy a cold one every once in a while. Jeff, thank you for joining, man. We appreciate it today. We got some things we got to close up the show with. We appreciate you doing it, man. Tons of time for us, and we love having you on.
Enjoy the big lunch too. And I know there'll be a lot of ripping of Johnny Mac at that lunch.
I'm used to it. I'm gonna send you pictures of our food. That's the Checo's favorite thing, by the way.
Yeah.
He hates when I do that.
Turn around and take a selfie with the table. All right, we'll post it up on Birds.
I like to do things that annoy people. So
when my picture goes up, I'll show up.
Well, you got to show up to get your picture up.
I won't do that. If they put it up first, then I'll show up.
Well, what picture should we use of you?
I don't know.
I'll get Steve to do it.
I don't care.
I'll send you the classic J-Mac headshot I use. All right, Jeff. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you next Monday, and we got training camp to talk about next week with the training camp kicking off.
Oh, by the way, John, do we even know the schedule yet?
No.
You won't know it until
Tuesday
morning.
Why would we know the schedule?
Because every team has sent me their schedule.
Yeah, I'm just showing up Wednesday. Osmosis will take care of the rest.
Yeah, I agree with you.
love
I'm gonna show up at 8:30 and I'll be like, I'm ready. Let's go.
I'm in the
All right.
bucket.
We'll see.
Yeah, I'm in the
We'll see
bucket
how it
too.
goes.
Hey, we're at the point where we just say our names.
Yeah.
They don't hate us that much.
All right, Jeff. Thank you, man. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week. All right.
All right, see ya.
See ya. Have a good cheesesteak today. Let's hope Jeff Kerr probably going to eat a cheesesteak. Johnny Mac, good stuff, man. We got to take a commercial break. We haven't had a commercial break, but we only have 20 minutes left, and I did want to get through some of these names real quick. So let me just stick here. I'll take a – you know what? Let me take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk Jalen Carter. So he was number 4 on the list. I want to talk a little bit about Jalen Carter. We've had a chance to kind of expound and talk about every player that's been on the list. We didn't have a chance to do it with Jalen Carter. I want to do that. So we'll take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back in 3 minutes on Birds 365.